Today I'll talk about getting rid of motivation and being able to move over to having a habit-based structure with your training and nutrition. Hey guys, welcome to MotoFit TV, episode number 25. I've got a few things I'm going to go through today in terms of motivation. But before that, went to Melbourne on the weekend for the Fitness Business Summit Australia, which I went to last year. So last year they had a single day and they had 5 or 6 speakers. This year they had 2 days, which was for about 11 speakers. And pretty much what that focused on is industry professionals in fitness. So obviously not in terms of specifically for motorsport, but strength and conditioning and peak performance in general. So I had a heap of industry professionals talking about mindset, talking about motivation, pretty much how they run their businesses and how they structure things and how they work with their clients and the people that they work with in different industries. There was some that was like cycling coaches, there was some that were weight loss, some that were strength, body composition, a whole heap of different things, which allowed me to really be able to pick from the best of the best and be able to bring that and then implement that into the motorsport industry and pass it on to you guys as well. And one of the speakers there, Craig Harper, who has been a personal trainer since, I think he said 1980. He was one of the first personal training studios to be able to set up in Australia. So pretty much brought personal training to Australia. And what he was talking about is a lot of, I suppose, getting rid of motivation. Now this is something that I have talked about before, but not as in depth as what Craig went into and didn't have the insights that he was able to give me. It was a great presentation. So you guys can follow me on Facebook. He has a decent content output on social media. So he's someone you would want to follow and have a look at. But what he talked about is the concept of moving away from motivation. And this is something that we worked on with our riders and races, but I suppose we do it, but I didn't have as much of a focus on as maybe as what we should have. And what this focus was on is moving away from motivation and working towards building habits. So when we have motivation, we have different stages that we go through. So first of all, we get motivated, okay, we look for something to be able to change, we make a decision, we take action, we implement, and then we get the results. And that all starts from motivation. Now, the problem with motivation is that we don't have motivation all the time. So how many of you guys are motivated every single day at 100%? Okay, none, because it's impossible to be able to be at that same level of motivation day in, day out. We all have these peaks and valleys or peaks and troughs with our motivation. We have some periods of our life or some periods of time where we do really, really well, everything seems to be going amazing. Then on the other side of things, we have the complete opposite where everything's working against us and we can't do anything right. Okay, it always happens. Now, what that means is that because our motivation is constantly fluctuating, so are the results that we're getting. So if you're relying on motivation to be able to go and train, to go and eat correctly, to be able to go and ride and race and prepare your bike, to be able to do things, then your results are always going to be inconsistent. So while you're motivated in the short term, everything's going well and you're training every day and you're eating salads and doing all the right things, and then after that, that motivation drops off and we go into a trough or a valley, and that affects our performance, it affects our results. And then we don't have that consistency over the long term. And that's something that a lot of riders and racers fall into, because they don't particularly enjoy the training. Okay, the training is not the thing that they like. So for say maybe a strength and conditioning coach or a personal trainer, the training is the thing that they love doing. That's their sport. Okay, whereas a rider and racer doesn't necessarily like the training. They like the riding and racing, they like the benefits of the training, but they may not really enjoy the actual training itself. So to be able to do that, you need to be able to make sure you're not relying on motivation, because if you're only relying on motivation with your training, then it's going to be short-lived. You're going to have inconsistent results. You're not going to be getting the progress that you're actually after. So we need to be able to shift from motivation. The only thing that allows you to be able to have consistent results in those peaks and troughs of motivation is implementing habits. You need to be able to have habits which are systems. Okay, so we're setting up systems, we're setting up habits for you to be able to be consistent so that it actually becomes part of your life. So the example that Craig used, and I've used this before, I don't know if I got it from him or I've got it from someone else, is brushing your teeth. How many of you get up in the morning, need to watch 5 motivational videos, stick your headphones in with your iPod and listen to some cranked up music to be able to get pumped up to go and brush your teeth in the morning? Not many of you. How many of you really enjoy brushing your teeth? Probably not many of you. Okay, but we do it anyway, at least for adults anyway. We do it every morning, okay? We get up, we do it, we don't even think about it. Same as having a shower. You have a shower each day. You don't need to get pumped up and motivated to go and have a shower every day. It purely comes back from having a habit. It's just a habit. When you get up out of bed, you go and brush your teeth, or you have a shower and then you brush your teeth, or you make breakfast, whatever it is. It's all about being able to develop habits. And that's very important. So what we want to focus our attention on is setting up systems. Okay, and that goes with your training as well. So making sure that you're having some, first of all, maybe you need some accountability there in the short term, but the long-term goal is to be able to set that system. And first of all, that comes back to having a schedule. So mapping out your training, mapping out your nutrition, mapping out when things are actually going to get done. Are you going to train on a Monday, a Wednesday, or a Friday? Are you going to train at 5 p.m. or 5 a.m.? When are you going to prepare your food? Is it going to be on a Sunday night? Or are we going to do it on a Wednesday night? When are we going to do your stretching and flexibility work? When are you going to do some recovery work? When are you going to go riding? Schedule everything and map it out so that it becomes a habit. It's part of what you do. It's not something you have to actually think about. Because when you move from the motivation side of things to being habit-based, when you create those habits, that's what gives the lasting results. That's what gives you the results for years and years to come. So people ask often, and this is something Craig talked about as well, is people will ask trainers or people will ask people who go and train a lot, how do you stay motivated to be able to train? And the thing is, they don't stay motivated. It's just part of what they do. And many riders and racers don't have those systems there to be able to implement, to be able to be consistent with their training, which is why they don't get the consistent results over the long term. They're so focused on the short term, the motivation, the drive, they're doing a few weeks or a month of hard training, and then they get to a point where they're like, oh, okay, then they stop. They get to the end of the program, they get to the end of a cycle, and they haven't developed any habits there of training. They're still deciding every day, they're still going, oh, am I going to go training today or am I not? Am I going to go or am I going to not? Whereas you need to be able to get to a stage where you've built that habit, where you already know you're going to training before you've even got there. It's not a decision about whether you train today or not. It's about just rocking up and being able to be there. So I guess today's episode is focusing on move away from motivation. Don't focus on the short-term stuff. Don't focus on listening to music, okay, and watching motivational videos and trying to get yourself pumped up or trying to have a training partner, which is even worse. Work on building those habits. Okay, work on holding you accountable. The amount of people I speak to on the phone that are like, oh, yeah, Andrew, I might want to do your program, but I need a partner or I need someone to come and knock on my door. You don't need 10 guys to come and knock on your door and drag you to the gym. Okay, you need to be able to, first of all, set some decent goals, and second of all, have someone to help you build systems, because the systems is what gives you the long-term result. When you're investing in a coach, you're investing in someone, that's what actually helps you to be able to set up those systems. They should be helping you schedule. Okay, there's a difference between having a trainer, I guess, and a coach. A trainer can just give you programming, give you nutrition, and you just go and do it, and they leave you to their own devices. A coach actually helps you to be able to implement and execute and set up systems so that you have that education past the program. So for me, I want riders and racers to come in and send me messages, and they do. We've worked with guys from 1, 2, 3 years ago when we first started. They send me messages and let me know how they're going. We've had guys that were racing on the weekend at Wanneroo for the state round here in Perth that are sending me messages, letting me know how they've gone, and they finished our programs ages ago. Okay, because they're continuing to implement, they have those structures and they have those systems there. That's what gives you the long-term result, and that's what you're investing in. You're investing in the system to be able to implement and have that structure and have those habits. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to send me a private message. I'm happy to hook up a call for this week. I've got 5 spots for this week to be able to run through your training model, have a look at your current habits, see if there's anything there that we can implement on being able to develop those systems, develop those habits, move you away from motivation and hot and cold results to actually having long-term consistent progress. So if that's you, look forward to hearing from you. If you are someone that doesn't take action, doesn't really want to invest in themselves, or doesn't do the work, then don't bother. It's probably going to be a waste of your time and my time. If you're willing to invest in yourself, you want to invest in a system, and you want those long-term results from your training, then happy to have a chat. Let me know. Hope to hear from you guys soon. See ya.